Um, Chair, um, yeah, I have just my starting question is the DG before he goes. Can you explain to us why are we doing smart cities? If since 2019, as the presentation says, we are still at a concept stage, he's talking about what will be the policy this, and even in that, there is just no coordination. You look at the history of these smart cities, you really don't understand what problem are we trying to address as South Africans with the smart cities? Is it a nice to have one of those fantasy projects that really they do not add to addressing the basic needs of employment, inequality? I didn't hear anything that tells me, is this going to create jobs? What are the tangible benefits that the majority of South Africans sitting at home watching us can say, I want the smart city today because this is what I am anticipating to get out of it? Are we not just prioritizing to create some kind of fancy cities for the affluent, at the expense of rolling out broadband for meaningful, universal, meaningful access? I liked what the Deputy Minister said in his opening statement: universal, meaningful access in our lifetime. That should be our focus. Clearly, this smart cities have just been a waste of time and waste of resources. And I'm still trying to understand, why are we doing the smart cities when we don't have the basics in place? Lanseria was supposed to be a smart city. He failed to give us where this project is, how far, what are the challenges there. And we know there's corruption, mismanagement, lack of coordination with government. Durban Aerotropolis was supposed to be one of them. We don't know where that project is. What is the progress there? What are the challenges there? Mooikloof Mega City was announced as well. We don't know what is happening. But you look at all of this, Chairperson, there's no need for us to be spending so much money on it. Just in 2023, there was about 1.6 billion that was spent to fix the infrastructure of Eskom energy that is provided for these smart cities. Across those smart cities, there's vandalism of this infrastructure, there is theft, and there's all of these challenges with Eskom, with energy, and you can't have a smart city if you have not stabilized your energy distribution and generation. So what is the point? What is the coordination points? Where are we? That 1.6 billion that was spent, wouldn't it have been better spent, Mr. DG, giving it to BBI at least to stabilize BBI? Because they need 1.8, but we are ready to go and spend 1.6 billion on a fantasy project like a smart city. BBI supposedly has a mandate as well to provide universal access, but it's not being prioritized. And Chair, my next question, and I think it will be my last one, there may be one or two that hangs on it. This state digital infrastructure company, SDIC, that's supposed to be the measure of BBI and Centec. This is a question to perhaps even the Deputy Minister if he's still online. Is it just not another financial burden for taxpayers? Why do we keep creating state-owned entities like we want to do with CETA when we fail to manage the current ones that we've already incurred sunken costs to establish them? We have employees, we've got all this infrastructure in there, capital has been spent to speed to where they are. Why do we need this SDIC? Why can't whatever we want to do in SDIC be done perhaps within Centec and or BBI? The financial viability of this SDIC, has it been presented? We know that our government, we're going into our budget debate on Wednesday, the fiscal constraints are real. And if we're going to add something that we're just going to create without really thorough interrogation on the viability of this initiative, are we just not putting another bandage, or just maybe passing the buck along the line, or keeping ourselves busy to say we're doing something instead of really doing what should be done, rooting out the corruption, better coordinating government departments, putting money where it should be, to just do the basics right and give universal, meaningful access to our communities, to rural areas in our lifetime without going to do fancy stuff like new entities. My other question, Chair, and perhaps please consider this in future, it is truly my last question. What is the role of the Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation Department, the PME? If there is such a lack of coordination in planning, state-owned entities are refusing to assist one another, the same government, where you find ESCOM PRASA, they can't collaborate and cooperate with BBI. They'll rather see it fail and we waste money. And they've got infrastructure. They are not an ICT entity, but they've got infrastructure that another department can use. This is one government led by one president with one cabinet that sits almost every Wednesday to talk. What are they talking about? If they're not talking about these serious issues, to save taxpayers' money, coordinate, share assets, rationalize assets, make sure that the infrastructure is planned properly, monitored where it's supposed to be. I mean, why this competition amongst everybody? Why these pockets of silos? When these people are meeting every Wednesday, what are they talking about in those meetings? Where they're flying every week, everywhere, to come and discuss what in the cabinet meeting, if not to resolve this critical issue where 20, 30 years down the line, people are still sitting without broadband, high data costs. They can't